Joining me now, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. Senator, good to see you this evening, Chairman. Just your reaction to that conversation right off the bat.
Well, there's nothing going on in the House about protecting the 2020 election. They're trying to nullify the 2016 election. Mueller has spoken. He found no collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians after 2 years, $25 million, 19 lawyers, and 40 FBI agents. He decided not to bring any charges regarding obstruction of justice because there is no crime here. The bottom line is what the House is doing is politically motivated, trying to destroy the Trump presidency, and I can assure you that we're done with the Mueller investigation in the Senate. They can talk to John Dean until the cows come home. We're not doing anything in the Senate regarding the Mueller report, but we're going to try to harden our infrastructure to protect it against 2020 interference.
Well, everybody certainly hopes that that's the case. It feels like everybody talks about that, and I know that you are doing some work on that. But it's alive and well, the Mueller report and the investigation on the campaign trail, which I'm sure will come of no surprise for you. Here's one example. This is Beto O'Rourke from yesterday.
We were attacked unlike any other time in our 243-year history. And we have a president who has yet to acknowledge it and a president who has yet to be brought to justice. So, yes, at the end of the day, justice is important.
He wants to bring the president to justice, Senator.
Who would you pick to bring Donald Trump to justice? Robert Mueller, or Beto O'Rourke, or Jerry Nadler? The one person everybody agreed would be a fair arbitrator of the investigation was Mueller. We all said he was a good guy, highly qualified. I thought that would be the end of it. Does anybody really believe that Beto O'Rourke and Jerry Nadler are looking for justice? If you believe that, I got a bridge I want to sell you.
All right. I want to ask you about your discussions with Attorney General William Barr, because before you met with him about this topic of doing this investigation. And today they put out a very interesting letter, which I read a little piece of at the beginning of the show, which makes it clear that their scope is very broad. U.S. intelligence, overseas intelligence, private individuals. What's going on with this?
Well, Bill Barr did two things. He allowed Mueller to do his investigation without political interference, gave him all the resources he needed to be the last word on Trump and Russia, and Mueller has spoken. Now what Barr is going to do is open up the second phase of this investigation. How did it get so off track? Was the FISA court defrauded by the FBI, the Department of Justice? Was there a legitimate reason to have a counterintelligence investigation of the Trump campaign? And why wasn't Trump told what Donna Brazile was told? Nobody from the FBI or the Department of Justice ever told candidate Trump that we think some people working for you may be working with the Russians. Why did they not tell Trump what they told the Democratic Party?
Good question. It's a question we've been asking here for quite some time. With regard to, I want to jump two more topics with you if I can, Senator. With regard to this Mexico deal, there's some pushback on it today that the parameters of it were already laid down some time ago, that the win is not as big a win as the president is professing. What do you say?
Well, I was talking to the foreign minister of Mexico the day before the deal, and I didn't think we could get there. There were a lot of unresolved issues. I was very involved in this, and the president has delivered a deal that I think will make us far more safer. Mexico is stepping up. And here's what the New York Times would have you believe, that Donald Trump negotiated a great deal with Mexico for 2 months, didn't tell anybody about it. Do you think Donald Trump would have a great deal and not tell anybody about it? This whole narrative that this was done before is ridiculous. He pushed Mexico. Mexico took the tariff threat seriously. We're going to have better cooperation on the Mexican side, but here's the problem. I wish the Democrats would help President Trump as much as Mexico has. If the Democrats would work with me to change our asylum laws, this would be fixed overnight.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like something everybody ought to be able to find some common ground on. Just a quick last question for you. All of this, of course, relates to the border. You're going to speak with the acting director of Homeland Security. And also, it just seems to me that all of this is very quantifiable. You've got 100,000 people crossing every month. We're going to be able to tell in a month what the impact of this is to some extent, right?
Well, Mexico is doing better in terms of controlling the flow into Mexico from the Central American countries that are the root of the problem. They're going to help us keep some people in Mexico while they wait for a hearing here in the United States. But what I'm doing is saying that if you're from Central America, you can't apply for asylum in the United States. You have to do it in your home country. I've been told if you do that one simple change, 90% of this stops overnight. And that's what I'm pursuing, is trying to end this disaster at the border.
And you've got that 80 to 90% of the asylum seekers don't actually have the right criteria for asylum in this country. So this pushes that process a little bit closer to home and prevents them from being able to be, sort of set free in this country when they don't actually have. Yeah.
Martha, if people in Central America knew that asylum claim had to be made in Central America or Mexico, no longer could it be made in the United States, this would end literally overnight.
Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you very much, sir. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.